Everyone is familiar with the phrase, dog is a man's best friend. Besides the whole being a man part, I can completely attest to the statement being accurate. I have a dog and I'm obsessed with him and I love him a lot, and he happened to enter me and my family's life through adoption. So today I'm going to be talking about why I think adopting a dog from a shelter is a good thing. I do have three main points. My first one being that it's a good thing because it decreases the chance of an animal being euthanized. My second point is it decreases the alternative, which is a pet store adoption or getting it from a breeder, which inevitably supports puppy mills. And then my third point is that you are giving the animal a really good home, and all of these are really good things. Okay, so let's just get into my first point. So like I just said, when you adopt an animal from a shelter, it's a good thing because you are lessening the likelihood of that animal being euthanized. So when an animal is euthanized, it is put to sleep, it is killed. Unfortunately, this happens a lot with animal shelters because the animals that they're housing aren't being adopted fast enough. So throughout the year, a lot of people drop animals off at shelters, mostly being cats and dogs. So this happens for a variety of reasons. Maybe they found this animal on the side of the road, maybe the family couldn't take care of it anymore. Whatever the reason may be, a lot of these shelters get overcrowded really quickly. They don't have the resources, they don't have the labor to take care of them, so unfortunately they have to resort to methods like euthanization in order to make more space for more animals to be dropped off at. It's kind of like a really vicious cycle, and it's a really scary thing that happens. And then there's kill shelters, which are pretty self-explanatory obviously, but they're basically dedicated to house these animals and then kill them. My dog's from a kill shelter, just a really awful thing that happens in this world. But when you adopt an animal from a shelter, you are decreasing the likelihood of this happening, which is obviously a really good thing. So you're making a virtuous decision when you adopt an animal from a shelter. You're making a wise decision. You're showing that you have really good moral character by doing so. So let's go on to my second point now. So the alternative to adopting an animal from a shelter is getting it from a pet store or from a breeder. So a lot of pet store animals come from puppy mills, which are really, really awful. They're just basically like a mass production for animals with really harsh conditions. So think of really tight, crowded spaces, not a lot of time outdoors. A lot of these animals are taken away from their mothers at a really young age, so they develop behavioral issues later in life. Then the mothers are killed off because they're no longer seen as useful, which is really awful. So puppy mills and like kit mills don't give the proper tools for developing these animals, so it's just, I don't know, kind of reminds me of like a factory, which is a really gross metaphor, but I feel like it gets the point across pretty clear. So when you support these alternatives, pet store adoptions, you are supporting behavior that isn't virtuous, obviously, and so by association you're not being virtuous. So when you adopt an animal from a shelter, you are exhibiting higher moral standards as opposed to the alternative. So now on to my final point, which is an obvious one, I would say. When you adopt an animal from a shelter, you are giving it a really good home. So a pet becomes part of your family really quickly. I know I could imagine my life without my dog now, and I'm sure a lot of other people could say the same thing. Pets become like a really special part of your life. They're able to feed off your mood, feed off your energy. It's just a really nice thing to come home to after like a long day at work, or a long weekend away. Your animals are to greet you and they're excited to see you, and it's just a really special bond and connection to form with something. I almost said someone, but they're not a person. So obviously there's always going to be an oppositional point of view. You may say, I really want a puppy, I really want a kitten. Obviously they're really cute in the store window, but there's a lot of suffering that got them there, like I mentioned before. So a lot of people want to get an animal from a pet store because they want to raise them for the entirety of their life, from when they're really young to really old, and that's definitely appealing. I mean, who doesn't love a puppy or a kitten? A monster probably. But while it is true that animals in shelters are often older, this is a good thing because their behavior and their personality is more established. You're able to see how they interact with other animals, how they interact with other people. A lot of times animals in shelters are up to date on their shots. They've already been spayed and neutered, which is a big money saver, which is a really good thing too. So all around, I would say, obviously it's a good thing when you adopt from a shelter because you're displaying virtuous behavior, you're doing something that's good just to do something good. Obviously, there's not really a vested interest. When you adopt an animal, you're doing it adds to your life, but you're giving them a better chance at the best life possible, and you're welcoming them into your family with open arms. You're decreasing the chances of it being euthanized, you're decreasing the support of puppy mills and pet store adoptions, and you're just giving it a really good home. So thank you for listening.